Well, it looks like it is exactly 7 p.m. and people are still logging on, but in the interest of keeping us on time, why don't we go ahead and get started? Um, uh, Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the College Area Community Council. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dena Rogers, and I am the CACC Vice President, and I am sitting in for our President, easy for me to say, Barbara Brown. And I want to introduce some other of us who uh, give our time and talents to the CACC. We have Kathy Brimmer, who is our secretary, and I don't see anybody else on just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. We have Eric Rosenberg, who is our treasurer, and we have Bob Shilkin, Russell Richards, and Rob Corley, who are our board members at large. Yes, big cheers for all the people who are ready to make our community a little bit better. If you yourself, or if you know somebody else who has some time and would like to contribute to our enterprise here, visit with us, shoot us a message. We would love to have more volunteers on our board. More ideas, more perspectives, and more energy is always welcome. For those of you who are regulars, we're happy to see you. And for those who don't really know us or are new, the College Area Community Council is an organization designed as a conduit between the city and our community, and it provides a channel for communication, community connection, and opportunities for neighborhood problem solving. So we encourage engagement tonight. If you have questions, you can use the reaction buttons, or you can put comments in the chat, or just raise your hand physically, and we'd be happy to entertain whatever questions you've got. And so, well, we'll head on into the rest of our agenda. I'm going to mention this twice tonight, but one of the things I wanted to make sure that I mentioned is that next month we will be having our hybrid meeting at CAPS and here on Zoom. And as part of that, we are conducting our Ventura College Basic Needs Pantry Food Drive, which means that we need your help. The Basic Needs Pantry provides for Ventura College students who are in need of sustenance and supplies. And as their neighbors, we like to have a drive. And if you can bring your items to the meeting at CAPS when we meet next month on, I believe it's October 22nd in person, then we would so appreciate your contributions. So just wanted to make sure we mention that right off the top. And like I said, I'll probably mention it again before we head out. And without any further ado, we have Commander, it's Commander, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Brown. All of a sudden I was uncertain of the title. I'm like, maybe I'm just making things up. Anyway, from Ventura PD to give us our area update. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Dina. And titles, Mike is fine. I'm not a big title guy. And I actually ran across Eric Rosenberg at one of our curbside coffee and chats recently, because he's also in our community academy, and he was expressing how much fun and how informative that is. So if you haven't done our community academy, I urge you to look into that next year when it comes around. It's kind of a peel back the layer in the back scenes of the Ventura Police. I also want to touch. I'll show the crime stat stuff, and then I also want to talk about our strategic plan and what we're asking for your input and helping to kind of shape our goals and responsibilities here at the police department. But let me get the crime stats up here, and I'm actually very happy to see that we actually have 15 fewer incidents than we did last month. Again, in this area, we had talked about a prolific juvenile that has been breaking into unlocked cars and so forth. I can give you a little bit of a case update that we're working with the district attorney to consolidate a large number of those cases. And our hope is that soon we can get to trial, and then maybe one of the goals is maybe get this juvenile on some electronic monitoring, so then we can actually be able to see where he's going, and if he is committing additional crimes, actually be able to place him at those crimes if we don't have any video or audio. So hopefully this issue will start to fix itself as the criminal proceedings continue. I did notice there was 3 catalytic converters in this south area off of Aurora, and in all of them, as I was going through them, they were all Toyota Tacoma trucks. So talking with our auto theft task force guys, catalytic converters are usually very popular on trucks because they're lifted up off the ground and so forth, and it makes it very, very quickly for them to get in and out on that. And we have seen a very large reduction in catalytic converter thefts actually, as we start to make people more aware and they call. And then also some of these these are largely like gang crimes or crews that are doing this. So as we get these cases and we put these large cases out of other counties together, that helps to tamp down those catalytic converters. But they do happen often, still frequently. But they are being there is a reduction in them. And typically, especially in our area, these crews are coming from LA and San Diego. So neighborhoods that are close to freeways are usually the most susceptible because they can get in and get out really quickly. So if you see anything out there, especially the 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning time frame, vehicles driving around, so please report it. Any questions on the crime stats? Any questions that came up in the last month before I move into our strategic plan? Sorry.
I have a question as to, I mean, there really was a significant difference in the thefts reported. And that's usually all at the mall. Do you have any idea why the number of crimes is so much lower than it was last month?
There's ebbs and flows. Especially during the summer months, we're usually a lot more incidents because the weather's nice and people are out and about later, and so forth. I didn't see any correlation as to what caused a significant reduction. It could be because now we have identified a prolific offender, and now that the wheels of justice are now starting to take their starting to spin. But they still do commit crimes, but as we start to get people on probation or their electronic monitoring, we're really able to really start reducing a lot of that stuff. So it's not to be, and there could be another person out there, and once we get these, we're identifying people all the time, and it's usually because people have awesome ring camera footage. They get a good picture. I can't tell you how many people get identified. Officers will go out and take the report, and they have good video footage. We put it out to our officers, and our officer goes, "Oh, that's so-and-so. I just stopped him, last week." And we make so many identifications off of having good video surveillance from people. So highly, highly encourage, if you don't have them, please just try to get something. It really helps us identify these prolific property crime offenders.
Great, thank you.
And I'll show you, here's a QR code. If you can also go to our Ventura Police Department website. Actually, when you log into our website, a little prompt comes up asking you to take the survey. And what this is our Ventura Police Department strategic plan. It's our talking points. It's how we measure how successful we are in providing safety and security and services to the citizens of Ventura. And we're reaching out to help start the next planning for setting clear priorities, guides to how we use our resources, and help measure our progress. We really want to reflect the values of you from the community, the people who also live here, they work there, they spend their time here, they visit. So your input extremely matters. We know Ventura is a safe city in many ways, but how people feel safe matters a lot to us. And community members, you see and experience things every day that we may not see. Your insights, they help us to better understand some of the local concerns and priorities. And this isn't generally a plan that's just built by the police department. That's why we want your input, so we can help craft and make sure that everybody is heard. So if you could, please go to our website. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to complete the survey. Share it with your neighbors, your coworkers, community groups. And we also are doing this internally with our officers and professional staff that work here as well. We're getting their input for what they see. And then we'll take the two and make a collaboration, and see what really matters to people and make sure that we're focusing on the things that people care about. This survey will be open until October 27th, when it closes. We hope to analyze the results late of this year, early 2026. We hope to draft the next strategic plan, and then spring of 2026, we hope to finally publicize and begin implementing this new strategic plan. So, safety is, I believe, a shared responsibility, and together, I think we could build a plan together that helps strengthen trust and safety across our city of Ventura. Any questions on the strategic plan, or any other questions?
Officer Brown, do you have the link handy to the survey? I can go look for it, but if you could put it in the chat, that would be dandy.
Kathy, I just put it in the.
I will copy this and.
Oh, Ryyn beat you to it.
Okay. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Any other questions or concerns? Anything I can help out with? Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone's time, and between now and the next time I see you, I'll be in Montana and Idaho for 2.5 weeks. So I hope you all stay safe, and please email me if you have any questions. And then I look forward to seeing you guys next month.
Have a wonderful vacation, and thank you for your presentation tonight.
Yeah, have a good trip. Stay away from the snow. It's snowing in the Rockies.
Oh, yes, I'll try to do my best. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Officer Brown. Next up, and my screen was being dominated by his map, so I wasn't able to see our participants, but I do not see. Next up was our Ventura College update, but I do not see Vanessa Stotler in attendance just yet. And
yeah, I don't see her either.
I do not see her, and nor do I see our Firewise presenter.
Oh, they're here.
Oh, there they are. Oh, good. Thank you for waving.
I think we're doing water first and then fire.
You are correct. And I do know that Gina Dorrington is here. I saw her when I signed on. So next up is our Ventura Water Projects update. And for that, we have Gina Dorrington from Ventura Water, and she's the general manager there. Welcome, Gina.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys, and thank you for all of you joining and being interested in what's going on in your community. It's very important, and these are chances for us to get out there and tell you what we're doing for you. So I'm Gina Dorrington. I'm your general manager for Ventura Water, And this evening, I'm just going to go over a lot of special projects we've got going on in the city and give you a little bit of background on how we do our water supply planning, what projects we have to help us get through that. And I'll do a deep dive into our Ventura Water Pure project that you've probably heard a lot about. And then talk about costs and next steps. I know a lot of us are anxious to talk about rates, but we'll be coming back to you between October and December to talk to you about rates once we fully put that presentation together. But I'll talk to you about next steps and what's coming. And maybe we'll have time for some questions and discussions. I hope that I leave enough time for you guys. But overall, here in Ventura, we're a very unique community in that we are entirely dependent on local water supplies. And so we have our Lake Casitas, our Ventura River, and our groundwater basins. All of those are very susceptible to the changes in drought and climatic ups and downs. And so we have to consider that when we're doing our water resources planning. And not only that, but we have a lot of environmental and regulatory challenges that we face in addition to the legal challenges. So if you can see here on the screen, through the last drought period, we saw the Ventura River get very low and we saw the Lake Casitas get extremely low. And that causes us to really take a look at what we're going to need in future dry years. And then on our groundwater basins, we're in some form under the Sustainable Water Act to find more sustainable use in those basins. So the allocations that we're used to using in the city are being reduced through matters of adjudication and litigation. And on our Ventura River, we have reached a physical solution with our environmental partners. And there are portions of the year in which we can't draw from that source. And in fact, we are in one of those portions right now. So we are no longer utilizing the Ventura River source, probably through the rest of the year. So historically, looking at the challenges that I just spoke about for water supply and then where we are just in the region, it's a very highly desirable place to live. The climate is very mild, but it's also very variable in rainfall. And as you can see from this graph, what our average rainfall looks like in that solid line across, and then how the actual fluctuates back and forth. And so we tend to have these periods where we get a lot of intense rainfall and then longer periods where we don't meet the average. And we've had water supply shortages where we've experienced that in the 30s, the 50s, the 60s, and then this last drought period, which lasted from 2013 to 2022. And the strategy really hasn't changed since the 1960s. It's been hope for rain and ask our citizens to conserve more. And that is just not going to be a sustainable approach moving forward in water resources planning. So we take a look every 5 years through our urban water management plan, and then on a yearly basis through our comprehensive water resources report, and look at our projections on what we have available in supply and what we think demand is going to be. And in this shot, we are taking a look at that last drought period that we went through, and we're really basing our future modeling off of this worst case scenario we've seen. And in 2013, we were using in that solid orange line, we were up almost about 20,000 acre feet within the city. And our projection is matched about that. We were projecting demand to be about that high as well in that dashed line. And our supply through the drought period, we predicted would be going down. Where we saw the collision was in 2015. Our actual demand got very close to our actual supply, and we were within a very small buffer where we risked having to go into extreme shortages and restrictions because we couldn't match that demand. But all of you and your fellow citizens in the city of Ventura did an awesome job at conserving and making the California policy of conservation as a way of life here in Ventura. And that's really what got us through that drought period. And it's a strategy that we're going to continue to use to move forward. One of the legs is conservation. So we know that we have done what we can there, and now we turn to looking to getting alternative water supplies into the city. So our worst case scenario and our projection, we look at the existing water supplies that we have going up these bar graphs. You see Lake Casitas, you see the Ventura River, a small portion of recycled water that we develop at the wastewater reclamation facility, and then our groundwater basins. And by 2030, we need to start bringing in supplemental water. So we have predicted the use of our state water, which I will talk about next, and the Ventura Water Peer Program, and I'll delve into that a little bit later. So after 2030, we know we're going to need to bring in those additional supplies in order to make sure we don't go into severe restrictions in a dry spell. So the State Water Interconnection Project is one of the large projects we're working with here at the city. It is about 4.2 miles of pipeline that we're building, and then Callegas Municipal District is building another section of the pipeline. We'll join together and we'll be able to actually bring in the state water allocation that the city's been paying for since the 1970s. We'll be willing that state water project through Metropolitan, through Callegas, and bringing in that water onto the east end of the city. That's going to bring a supplemental supply. It is imported water. There are some restrictions if the state water project is experiencing the same climatic drought that we are. There's not a full abundance of water, but it is additional water supply. And it's going to be a better quality of water. So we'll be able to blend that groundwater quality up that we have on the east side. We are looking at going out to bid fairly soon here for construction and starting that next year. So one of the probably more immediate and intimate projects you're familiar with is we tore up your Telegraph Road. Thank you for your patience through the past year. Was a section of pipeline for a interconnection throughout the city. So the city was built historically west to east with our water systems and our various supplies, but we really don't have an efficient way to move water quickly and blend those supplies. So it's a lot of pumping and up and down throughout the system. So these connections are building a efficiency for operations to be able to move water into areas from different basins. Say the Ventura River, like I talked about, is down right now. We can move water back over to the west side far more efficiently than we do today. So that is complete, and you are now getting the benefits of repaving Telegraph Road. So continue to bear with us while we get all the improvements done. And we're moving to the next phase. So you might have seen some activity out on Kimball, and that is the second portion of this, which will go along Kimball and Foothill Road, putting in a new pipeline that will help those efficiencies. Another project that we're working on is sort of on the opposite end, on the wastewater side, and building efficiencies there. During high rain events and high groundwater, we're experiencing a lot of infiltration and inflow. And that additional flow comes down to the wastewater plant. And it's additional costs in electrical and chemical while we have to treat for that. So we have done a lot of video inspections, and that's what you see up at the top is our camera video rolling through the sewer lines. And we find things such as cracks in the pipe where you see roots growing through it, or just groundwater pouring in from offsets. And then we also find illegal activities such as illegal protrusions and connections into our sewer lines. The bottom there, someone drilled just directionally right through our sewer line. So we're taking care of that, sealing up the sewer line so that we can avoid costly increases in flow at our wastewater facility. Speaking of our wastewater facility, one of the most significant projects the city is undertaking is the membrane bioreactor project. And that is the full upgrade of our wastewater treatment plant. So all of the wastewater flow that goes to the city, we are upgrading for decades of reliability. What happened was we went through our 10-year wastewater master plan and found our current wastewater facility to be structurally deficient, so much so that we needed to immediately address it. So we had a couple of repair projects in our capital improvement plan at this facility. And when we took a look at efficiencies, this project replaced all of those. And on life cycle costs, it was a more beneficial and effective way to meet the needs for the city. So this is currently in design. We have also employed some creative strategies to help move this along and keep costs low using a construction manager at risk. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to cost savings. But this project is slated to start its early works by the end of October. And as I mentioned before, it is a large cost, but it is also a technology that's going to be more robust and meet all discharge law for the city of Ventura. So everyone talks about the Ventura Water Peer Program, and there's a lot of association with that membrane bioreactor project and the Ventura Water Peer Program. The MBR is a wastewater upgrade for the city, while the Ventura Water Peer Project is the water supply portion, the water purification that's going to get us that additional water supply that we are looking for. But the two are very symbiotic, and they work in tandem with each other. We have the same team within the city departments working on these projects. We have funding that has been combined with these projects. So it is typically kind of associated with each other as a one big cost, but they are two significant or two separate projects, excuse me. So the Ventura Water Peer Program started its development as we looked at where we discharge to from the wastewater treatment facility. And we discharge to the Santa Clara River, which is a river estuary, which is a federally endangered species habitat. We are also beholden to state water law, the Inland Basin Estuaries Policy, the Porter Cologne Recycled Water Policy, and all of those say that it is no longer legal to discharge into the Santa Clara River estuary. So since 2008, we have known that we've needed to get out of there, and we have a federally or a federal mandate through a consent decree with our partners in Wichita, Hill the Bay, and we are under a mandate to remove our discharge from the estuary, reduce the nitrogen limit within that discharge, and at least 50% go to beneficial reuse. So out of lots of studies and knowing what we needed to meet, the Ventura Water Peer Program came forward. And that is a program that will recover, treat, and reuse the water that we currently discharge to the Santa Clara River estuary, providing a locally owned water source that isn't dependent on rainfall. And that is important because it is a new source of water and an additional source that will provide up to 20% of our future water needs in Ventura. So the first phase will get us up to 3,600 acre feet with full build out about 5,400 acre feet, which is significant when we're talking about those drought periods. And it involves taking the infrastructure and upgrading it at the wastewater treatment plant, sending that treated water out of that plant across the street to the advanced purification facility. We'll take that water purified, inject it into the groundwater. We'll remove that, send it up to our water conditioning facilities, and then that will go out into the distribution into our homes and businesses. Another piece of this puzzle is our ocean outfall piece, which has been completed, and that will first help us meet the discharge out of the Santa Clara River estuary, and then become the concentrate production out of the advanced purification facility's discharge point. The advanced water purification facility will be located across the street from the wastewater facility. The wastewater facility will contain the first step of membrane filtration, and then we'll add another step of membrane filtration with reverse osmosis at the pure facility and ultraviolet light disinfection. This removes viruses, bacteria, pharmaceuticals, PFAS, all of those contaminants that we hear about in the news. We're going to produce pure water. This is currently in design, and we are hoping to begin construction in 2026 to be able to provide that water supply we predict we need by 2030. The water will then come from that Ventura water pure facility and go into our groundwater injection wells. And so we have found a very viable area within our groundwater basins where we can inject it. So we only need to build wells on the injection side, and we'll be able to recover it from our existing wells that we already have built. So there's some cost savings in there. And we'll start working on that well production right along after the pure facility gets built, so that it'll be ready to take that water and inject it by the time the pure facility comes online. And the outfall project, which is completed. Congratulations to the Ventura Water Pure team. We're just working on the last step there on that bottom of the building. You see the that's our outfall pump station. But a couple, year or two ago, you saw a giant wall around Marina Park. And we directionally drilled underneath the Ventura Harbor and then up the Marina Park out towards the ocean, about 6,500 feet, to build an ocean outfall. This allows the city to remove the discharge out of the estuary firsthand. And then it will later become, once the advanced purification facility comes on, that RO creates a salty brine that we're going to discharge out to the ocean outfall. So we are looking for that building, that outfall pump station, to be completed by the end of December, and that will meet our first step of compliance for diversion of discharge. So costs are significant, and these are very large projects. They're large projects for any city, and because they're so large, the impact that we've been seeing on everything, inflation from the cost of eggs to the cost of pipe, has gone up, and the price of these projects being as big as they are starting, inflation was just that much more impactful. And we have been out working with our contractors, with our financial advisors, our rate consultants, our finance department, and finding local and federal partners to help keep costs as low as possible. So looking at our funding overview, EPA, through the Water Infrastructure and Finance and Innovation Act, granted us a loan for $173 million to start this project off. And we are looking to possibly extend that low interest loan and utilize even more of that at a low interest to keep costs low. There's the state revolving fund through California Water Board, and we're looking at grant funding as well as loan funding through there. But one of the biggest things and the accomplishments that we've done is garnered over $108 million worth of grants. And I know, looking at the total costs of these projects and compared to that 108 million doesn't seem significant, but that's a large amount of grant money to secure for one agency for the times that we're in now. So we know we still are going to continue to look for these opportunities as they open up. We are looking for funding through FEMA, funding through other agencies, that anything that has an opportunity to tie water projects to, because overall we know that we're going to need to ask our ratepayers and go out for bonding and go into our cash reserves to get us through this construction period to help secure this infrastructure. In addition to that funding sources that we're searching for, we're working internally on what these projects are and trying to sharpen our pencils and really hone down in on what we need. So we have removed a lot of unnecessary components, things such as like administration and outreach buildings, which are really nice to have and are a benefit to the community, but not a necessity for now. And those are things that we'll put on the back burner. And when it's when we look in, we see that we might have an opportunity to build those things, we'll look at it later. We've also implemented, as I talked about, that construction manager at risk. And what that's done is bring on your construction team while we're still designing. Typically the city will design something, they'll have an estimate of how much it's going to cost and go out to bid and see what they get back. And that's what your construction costs are. But we've brought in a construction manager and we've told them, hey, at 60% of the design, you're going to give us a guaranteed maximum price. And you're going to tell us what it's going to cost to build it at 60%. It's allowed a lot more upfront work with our design team, and it's avoided costly change orders on the back end. So we're hoping that we can get some more refined valued engineering. We can also go out for equipment and secure costs early, and so that inflation doesn't continue to grow and eat away at these costs. We went out and got owner-controlled insurance. So for the city, we umbrellaed the insurance over these projects so that we get better coverage without the markup on each individual project from the consultants and contractors. And then, as I talked about, those low interest loans and those grant funding opportunities we'll continue to look for. So our next steps, we are going to be going out for rate consideration. We just presented the last portion of the rates to the Water Commission on Monday. They have recommended that to be moved forward to the City Council. So we will be taking the final cost of service study and bill impacts to City Council for consideration of authorization on October 14th. If the City Council so wishes to authorize the process, we then open it up to the Proposition 218 comment period, where we're going to go out to the communities, and the council, such as you, will have some workshops. We're even going to hold some tours at the wastewater facility. And then that gives the public the opportunity to protest those rates, provide feedback, and then come back to December 9th City Council meeting for the public hearing and consideration of adoption. If they are approved and adopted on December 9th, they won't go into effect until July 1st of next year. We are still in the last rate cycle, year 5, those increases you saw in July. So those increases will stay in effect until the next July, and then we'll start a new rate cycle. So with that, I'm here for questions. I do have Linda Szymanski with us on here as well. She is your Ventura Water Peer Program Director. So if there's any technical things about the infrastructure itself, we might refer to her.
Does anyone have any questions? I mean, some of the information I'm sure some of us have heard before, and I guess one question I had, and it had to do with the road work that was being done. Did I see that it's going to be at Kimball and Foothill is the next area that's going to get started on construction?
That is correct. So we're going to go slightly up Kimball and then head over on Foothill. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, I take that path to my office, and I've seen some of the vehicles out there working at the intersection of Telegraph and Kimball so far. I'm glad to know that, so I can start thinking of alternate routes.
Yep.
I guess I think it's Vondi. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Hi, Dena.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I have a question. It's not specifically about this project, though. It's a broader question. James Hines, who does a lot of lobbying for Ventura County in DC. He said that with the passage of the last bill, there was proposed uranium mine next to our lake. And I was just wondering if the city had heard anything about that.
No, I have not specifically. Was that the Lake Casitas?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have a meeting.
James Hines, Director of Protecting Wildlife and Wild Places Campaign, but he does a lot of lobbying for Ventura County, our wild spaces.
All right.
I'll put it in the chat if you're interested. Okay, great. And then do we have any idea what the rates will be like? Like how much more roughly?
What we saw at the Water Commission on Monday night is a 10.5% increase on the water rate for the next 5 years. The wastewater rate is slightly higher. It's at a 10%, or it's at an 18%. And then it drops off to 16 and 15%. So that's what we're seeing. There will be a calculator that we will be launching after the city council meeting that you can go on and calculate your water usage and your sewer rate specifically to your bill. So you can type in what you get on your bill right now, and it'll calculate out a projection of what you will see on your bill.
Gina,
Okay, thank you.
Ryyn,
When we first, oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Just very quickly, can you also talk about the programs that will help low-income families as well?
Yeah, so we have a employee assistance program that currently you can enroll in based off of your income, and it will give you a 50% reduction on your fixed charges. So those fixed charges towards water, your meter, all of those meter charges that you see on your bill. And that's a reduction. We have an automatic enrollment plan now that if you're already enrolled in a customer assistance program, we will find you on that list and we will enroll you for that. We're also looking at we're in a medical program right now. We're piloting a medical program. So you have a specific medical need where water is critical to, how you need to run medically life-sustaining equipment. We also enroll you in a discount program as well.
I just wanted to clarify about those rate increases that you were discussing. So those percentages that you were quoting, so there was one that was 10%, and so once it raises 10%, the next one is an additional 10% on the next. It's a compounding increase that we're going to experience.
That is correct.
I thought that was the case, but I figured.
And to give you reference, we're in the current rate cycle was a 6% increase on water every year for 5 years and a 7% wastewater every year for 5 years. So each July for the past 5 years, you've seen an increment just as well, and it is compounding. So it's that year, and then the additional 10.5% the next year, an additional 10.5%.
Okay, I thought that's what I understood, but I think that clarity is probably useful.
Thank you.
I see that Bondi has her hand up again.
Yeah, just to follow up, when we first moved here, they told us that your wastewater amount was a static amount based on your March usage. Is that still accurate?
The wastewater now it was a seasonal usage, so we were looking at based on seasonality. That is changed. It's based on it's at a cap. The Water Commission this year and the city have looked at the ways to have less impact to the ratepayer and bring that percentages down. So there's a cap now, and it's like if you use 100 cubic feet on your water side, that's the max that you're going to get charged on the sewer side. It's based on your water usage.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just
my question is, the discounts being offered are on fixed charges. What percentage of your bill is fixed charges?
That I would we'd have to look at what your meter size is. So it varies on your meter size, but there's a fixed charge portion on your bill.
And what do residential homes generally have as a meter size?
Most have a 3/4 inch meter, and so the discount would be approximately $12 off of your total bill.
Yeah, so the increase in cost is going to be actual usage of water and whatever you calculate out for wastewater.
Right. And so the benefit is, or one benefit can be that, looking at reducing your water usage on your bill will help you to lessen that water bill total.
Which is what we're all doing today.
You're doing a great job.
Gina, can you add
Yeah.
also how our rate increases is comparable to many other cities throughout the region?
Yes, so we currently lie in sort of the lower mid of the agencies that are around us in this region. And these increases are kind of going in step with all of those other communities who are also going through increases. So it will move us, we'll still be in the mid range, but we'll be a little bit more. And we do have a graphic on that is going to be coming out in the material, and that will be presented at the city council meeting on October 14th. So you can see that where we land with other agencies, and we're still running in the middle of the pack.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, well, I guess that's one way of looking at it. When I talk to people about insurance rates, they don't react that way.
Well, generally, yeah, you don't want to be at the top end, that's for
right,
sure.
of course not. Do we have any other questions for Gina? I don't see any, and I don't think yeah. Well, thank you, Gina, for giving us an update, information about what is going to be coming down the pipe. And thank you for being with us.
Yeah, we'll see you again in a few weeks.
All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So the portion that I had jumped to erroneously, we're now ready for. We have with us tonight Ben and Nancy O'Road. Is it O'Road or O'Roady? You're muted still.
Hi. Yes, I'm Nancy O'Roady.
O'Roady. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I pronounced your name right.
Thank you.
And they're going to give us some information about the Firewise program, and they are on the committee, and I'm sure I'm not using the right term, but for the Ondulando neighborhood that has formed a Firewise neighborhood. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, thank you for inviting us today. First, we're going to talk about how to burn your house down.
Yes.
That's our first topic, and then
That's our topic.
then we'll get a little more helpful.
All right, so there we go.
Let's see, can we get maybe the first slide?
That's it. She's getting there.
Perfect.
So can you just see the whole thing down here? Right. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So Ben and I are 2 of the 7 people who formed the Ondulando Firewise community in 2023. We lost our home in the Thomas fire, and right now we have a great home that's airy and full of light and very fire resistant. So we're good. And so
next slide.
Next slide.
Can we do that?
Can we do that, or do you?
Oh,
we can. All right.
Okay.
Go.
So this is the old house in Colina Vista in Ondulando, the one that burned down. And we're going to talk about why it burned. We're going to give you 20 reasons why this house burned down. And we hope some of these reasons might be instructive. Okay, so got it.
That's it.
Got it.
Good work. All right. So this house was built in 1961. We moved into it in 2003. And this picture is from 2008. So can you find near the palm tree, the number 1? That's our first way to burn down a house. That's a palm tree and it's 2 feet from the house. And there are palm fronds touching the roof. And then can you see number 2? Beyond the palm frond is a plastic skylight, and plastic burns. And so skylights should be glass. And then number 3, that is a single pane window. And what happens in a fire is that it breaks during the fire. And so double pane windows withstand heat so much better.
Okay, and then number 4, if you can see it. So number 4 is all that vegetation very close to the house. And what happens in a wildfire is the wind and the heat and the embers dry that out. And so it looks good now, but in a fire, it's all going to ignite. And this is really close to the house. So that's a very good ignition point. So another way to burn your house down is have cushions like number 5 that can be ignited by the fire, the embers, caught in the wind and blown into, well, the front door. And then 6, this is a little, you have to use your imagination. 6 is wood siding, we had some. And if you notice the vegetation right down there at the bottom, during a fire, the embers can collect there, ignite that vegetation right next to the wood siding, and that may be an ignition point for your house.
Yeah, and so we have a front entry that is an ember trap. So right there, we have a doormat, which is flammable, and it gives any embers who are there, who have been blown in, to ignite the wooden doors. And during the Thomas fire, the wind came from the east to the west, and it was perfectly right there in our entry area right there. And so on the entry at the bottom is number 8. And 8 is a planter, and the planter grew up, and you can see the leaves at the very top. And so fire would just go right to the ceiling for that. So that's number 8. And Ben?
Okay, so number 9, the 9th way to burn this house down, more vegetation. This is a tree that's growing right against the house, up under the eaves, and there's ferns underneath it. And so when that all ignites, it's a very likely ignition point for the house. And number 10, those are our gutters. They're plastic burns, yet another way to burn down this house.
Okay, so these are some of the ways you can burn down your house. And, oh dear.
Need to move on?
We can, yeah, we're trying to move on.
I think we can, okay.
We did.
Got
Okay, thank you.
Somehow. Okay, so so here's the front patio. Now, there's a little gate right under the number 12. I want you to remember that gate there, a metal gate. And so that's the entrance to the patio. So you see number 11 up at the top, and number 11, they are giant bird of paradise, and I mean giants. And they have fronds taller than the garage, which you can't see, but there is a garage behind those giant bird of paradises. And the plant is touching the eaves of the garage. And then we have number 12. There are 4 palm trees in this area, and palms are highly combustible, and they provide an abundance of embers.
Okay, so number 13 is mulch. This is bark mulch. We also had some fiber mulch and wood mulch. All mulch burns, and it's very likely to ignite things around it, which can in turn carry on to the house. When we saw our house after the fire, there was not a trace of any of the mulch. It had all burned. Number 14 is wood furniture out on our patio. Wood, of course, is combustible, but the cushions actually are more dangerous. And then number 15, again, vegetation. This time, more trees right up under the eaves, in front of a window, perfect ignition point for burning down this house.
Yes, so.
We're trying to change the slide.
Oh,
Aha, thank you.
thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a before and after picture of the front garden, the front patio. What do you notice? Well, lots was destroyed in the after part, but what wasn't destroyed is the wooden table. And why didn't that wooden table burn? Well, because it's in a non-combustible area that was sitting on cement pavers that don't burn. So the wood didn't have a chance to really ignite. And then we can look in the background there and you see those black sticks. Those are the giant bird of paradise trunks. Only the trunks are left. All of the greenery burnt. And you can see that there's no garage behind it. All right, one more
Okay,
time.
Next slide.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. So now this is the back of the house, and number 16, the 16th way to burn down this house. You can see that there are two large potted ficus plants, yet again, right up against the house, right under the eaves. Those are another ignition point. Now, number 17 is not terribly visible. We're talking about the eaves. And so for starters, we did not have enclosed eaves, okay? Enclosed eaves are more fire resistant. And even more important, there are vents under those eaves, and we had the 1/4-inch mesh that was built into those vents, and that mesh is too large. It allows embers to get into the attic and ignite it. You should have 1/8 or 1/16 inch mesh.
Okay, so number 18, it's a wooden fence, and that is called an FDD, and that stands for a fire delivery device. And so any wooden fences or gates next to a house are flammable and deliver the flames right into the house. So that's your fire delivery device, number 18. And then 19, this is a combination of our plants and our neighbors' plants, and you can see that it is higher than the roof. And so they were touching our house. And number 20, on the banks, there was a lot of vegetation, and it looks all green, and you can't believe that it would burn, but underneath it were all dry twigs and leaves, and it's very flammable. So how to burn down your home? Well, we've just given you 20 ways to do that.
Okay, so here's the before and after picture of the back of the house. It's slightly different perspectives. You've seen the before. If you look at the after, right at the bottom, you can see sort of what's left on the bank. The bank burnt completely. And then if you look at the house, totally gone. But look at the trees. There are quite a few trees in our lot and across the street that survived the fire. And what's interesting to notice is that the trees that survived were old, mature trees that had been limbed up. So there was not a lot of foliage to ignite down where the fire was. So I want to talk a little bit about houses. Again, all these houses are totally burned. And so when houses burn, they burn really hot, and they create an amazing storm of embers that get carried on to the next houses. And the houses are so hot that just the heat alone can ignite the house next door. And so what you get when a house starts to burn, you're in danger of getting house-to-house ignition. And so this is what's accounted for some of these horrible fires we all remember: Santa Rosa, Ondulando, us, Lahaina, Palisades, and Altadena. And so what Firewise are trying to do really is to protect communities from this house-to-house ignition. We need a community to do it. We all need to make our houses more fire resistant so we don't have this kind of a house-to-house ignition event.
Okay, so, all right, thanks. So we've got the before entry, And in the after, we should be looking over the gate at the entry to the house. However, nothing's there. But something did not burn, and 3 days before the fire, I put a swag with a little red ribbon on this gate, and it didn't burn. That's the first thing we noticed when we went back to the house, like, how in the heck did that not burn? And now we realize that it's on a metal gate and it's surrounded by stucco. It's surrounded by pavers and cement. And there was nothing there that would give off the embers that would be needed to burn. So that was our amazing sight when we got back to see it. So so we rebuilt, and we had totally changed our aesthetic of what looks good for a landscape. It's much simpler, or it's more spare. It's nice. People have complimented on us. And it's also fire resistant. So,
Next slide.
Oh,
You skipped one, please. Go back one.
thanks.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we could go back in time and get our house ready for the Thomas fire, if we could do that, what would we do? Well, the first two things we would do would be to clear the zone from 0 to 5 feet around the entire house. Okay, we take all the combustible items out of that zone. And the second thing we would do is go to those vents that were screened with 1/4-inch vents and screen them with 1/16 inch screening. Okay, and so there's a lot wrong with this house. Why would we start there? Right, there's two reasons. The first is cost effectiveness. Neither of those things are particularly expensive. And if we've gone back in time when we were younger, we could probably do a lot of it ourselves, okay? But there's another reason, a really important reason. Fire research shows that if you have a non-combustible zone 0 from 0 to 5 feet, and if you have screened off your vents with 1/16 or 1/8-inch screens, you can reduce your fire risk up to 75%, okay? Now, our house is bad, probably not so bad that we get the full 75%, but those are the two things you can do that have an enormous impact and are not particularly expensive.
Thank you. And so here's an example of a non-combustible zone 0 home. All right, so what's going to happen when these embers come flying into this house? It's going to blow against the walls of this house, and then the embers are going to drop down and they're going to hit the rocks, and there will be nothing for them to ignite. That's the zone 0 that we're after, 0 to 5 feet from the walls of the home outward. That will be gravel, rock, dirt, DG, or else.
Non-combustible.
Yeah, and clearing the zone 0 does not mean it's going to look like a desert, right? Notice the attractive plants you can have around a zone 0.
Okay, next slide.
Thanks.
Okay. Here is another zone 0 where there's nothing combustible from 0 to 5 feet from the home. But look at this garden. It's just lovely. You can have plants, trees, bushes, flowers, etc. I mean, you've got to be conscious of fire danger, but you can have an appealing landscape that is fire safe. Next slide.
Okay, so here are some examples of what you can have in a zone 0, 0 to 5. So the legislation is expected to permit small plantings in non-combustible pots in the 0 to 5 foot zone. And I thought this was a good example of that. Pots cannot be in front of a window, but you can have something like that is shown there.
Okay, next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So in this home, you can see another fire-safe garden that's very attractive, okay? And that's really one of the things we wanted to stress is that you can have a fire-safe landscape that is an attractive landscape. You might have to change your aesthetic a little like we have, but it's definitely possible.
Okay,
Next slide.
so now we want to talk about the fire hazard maps from the state, and in particular, the college area fire hazard maps. So you see in this map that the red is the very high fire hazard, and the orange is high fire hazard. The yellow is moderate fire hazard. And you might have heard that that there's legislation that will require some homeowners to clear the zone 0 to 5 for their homes. And which homeowners are those? Well, those in the very high fire hazard areas. Red. And so when this will go into effect in about 3 years or more, it's not totally clear. It's in 2026, we should have the legislation going, but this gives you an idea of what to expect.
So anyway, we don't know what the state's going to do. They are in the process of writing the details. But my advice is don't wait for the state. If you're in a very high, or even moderate fire zone, you have 2 really strong reasons to start now to make your house more fire resistant. One is if you're in one of those zones, you're at great risk from a fire, and you should want to do everything possibly reasonable to make your house more fire resistant. Okay, it's just in your self-interest. And then the other reason is external, the insurance companies. Okay, in 2023, the insurance companies started assessing homes individually based on their fire resistance. And so if you have a home that has a non-combustible zone 0 and properly screened vents, you are far more likely to hold on to your insurance than somebody who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so don't wait for the state. Start making your home more fire safe now. Okay, next.
Okay, so
Thank you for your attention.
so thank you so much for your attention. And on the right, this is the holiday card we sent out in 2017. And so we are working right now with Ondulando Firewise so that we don't have to send out any more cards like this again, and trying to get our community to be more fire resistant. So thanks so much.
Thank you. And if you
Oh,
do we have time for questions?
And we have
happy to
time for
answer some.
questions.
yeah. Are there any questions out there? Jim?
You here. Hi guys, that was a great
Hi, Jim.
presentation.
Hi, Jim. Okay.
Excellent. Well done. That's where we all need to go. Speaking with the weed abatement coordinator, FHRP coordinator for the city of Ventura, they're going to be begin the zone 0 in 2026. And there will be a grace period of how long we don't know. It was supposed to be 2028 with CAL FIRE, but these numbers are changing. But I know the state, the insurance companies, the governor, and the homeowners want to get there sooner rather than later. So your presentation is unreal. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not very often people talk about how stupid they were, right?
Never.
We've learned.
No, you have learned the hard way, and now it's our turn to learn the easy way from what happened to you. And if we don't wake up and see that, we could have the same loss as you did, and potentially loss of life.
True.
Exactly.
True. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
I see 2 hands up. I know Shannon and then Vondi.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I have listened to a lot of Firewise presentations, and that was by far the best that I have ever heard.
Well, thank you.
We also have a little cabin up near Fraser Park, and so we do a lot of hardening. We're actually in, I guess insurance companies rate you like from 0 to 100, and our house up there is in the 99 zone. So
Yay.
we've been doing a lot of work. But I just wanted to say there's also a new product that we have heard about that we're working with our contractor to install. And it's a type of vent that when it gets very hot, the vent actually will seal itself so that the embers can't get in through the vents. And
Isn't
then,
that a great idea? That is
yeah,
such a great
and then,
idea.
I mean, you end up having, God forbid that you have to replace them and it costs you money, but man, if you saved your house, it was worth the investment.
Worth
So
it.
Absolutely worth
so
it.
much. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Okay, and Vondi, you had your hand up there.
Yeah, I thought I should at least go on camera since I keep talking. We had the fire safe people come out, and so we're in the process of doing a zone 0 and everything, but our neighbor has a really old palm tree right up against our fence, which is currently wooden. And that's the other part, is how do you determine who the fence belongs to? We've lived here 10 years. Like who, anyway, so what do you do about shared things and neighbor things?
Well, I would just say one thing is, you get together with your neighbor.
They're a senior and they don't have much resources.
Well, maybe if you get permission, that might be a start. But also, if you can't talk to your neighbors, one thing you can do is get in touch with the fire marshal, because if there's something going on that's actually endangering your home or theirs, the fire marshal can take some action.
Okay.
Bondi, do you have a second device on? Because I noticed when you're on, there's an echo.
Oh, yes, you're right. Sorry, I didn't think of that. We're watching on the TV, but I'm talking to you through my computer.
Okay.
So hold on. There you go. Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So, okay, so fire marshal and then shared stuff. How do we find out
The Ventura
who
Regional
the fence
Fire
belongs to?
The Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council also has some funds to help people who
Or
can't
suggestions? I'm
afford
open.
to,
Oh,
do
now I
some
can't hear
fire-
you.
Oh, no?
Dang it.
Can you hear me now? We good?
I wasn't hearing you because I'd muted you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Great. Okay, so the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council does have some grant funding to help people who can't afford, for example, to take out a palm tree but would like to. And so that's another source. You could contact them or have your neighbors contact them. You could contact them in behalf of your neighbors.
And the fence, the wooden fence, what really counts is if it's attached to the home. And so a lot of people are removing 5 feet of the fence that are attached to their home and putting metal there instead of wood. And then that stops that fire delivery device to the home. That's one thing you can do.
It's a lot cheaper than replacing the whole fence.
Ours just divides the property, so it's not touching our home.
Good.
But thank you.
That's good. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's a good idea. Didn't think of that. Are you working with the people below the Hill Nature Preserve, the old Mariano property, the people up Hall Canyon? Because they're trying to
We're
put
working
together-
with, yes, we are. We're working with their Firewise group. They're getting very close. May have already been accredited by FireSafe. Firewise, we don't know. Yes, but they're in the process. They're very close to becoming another Firewise community in Ventura, which is hooray. The more the better.
Have they seen your presentation? Because as everybody's telling you tonight, it's excellent.
So, some of them have, yeah.
Some of the board members, yes.
I found your presentation not only excellent, but the energy and the attitude that you presented your disaster and recovery with is very refreshing. And it really makes you feel like, all right, you can get ready and you can recover. And if you get ready, maybe your recovery can be even easier.
Yes, or non-existent.
Yes.
Or non-existent. Non-existent.
Oh, that's really great to hear. We're glad. Yeah.
My hat's definitely off to you on being able to do a Christmas card in 2017 in front of a burned down home. I think I would still be, I would still be traumatized.
No.
Everybody, all our friends knew anyway, so, you know.
No, but our friends, they thought that I went to Trader Joe's and just tied it on after the burn, and they couldn't believe us. They could not believe it.
I love it.
So, yeah. Anyway, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Really
Thank you for the
appreciate it.
feedback.
Thank you.
And thanks for bearing with me trying to mess with the slides.
Oh, no,
No,
well, thank you. It
perfect.
was perfect.
Perfect.
Thanks.
All right. So our next speaker is Dena Rogers from State Farm Insurance. And that's me, of course. My topic was updates on fire insurance. And the one thing I will say is there are some things that are being mentioned in terms of what is going on in terms of alleviating the scarcity that we have for homeowners insurance and a number of the other factors, but I don't have any concrete information. And as an agent, I'm really not authorized to talk about speculative things that might be going on. So what I thought I would talk about are a couple of things that might help you in the short term while you're navigating your homeowner's insurance, and things for you to keep in mind in terms of purchasing your homeowner's policy, and a couple other factors. Nancy and Ben did an excellent job of talking about ways of properly hardening your home. And I think probably we've seen a number of other presentations, although I have to say the aesthetic that they brought to hardening their home really does make a difference in terms of maybe your eagerness to get it done, because they made theirs look really, really good. The one thing I will say is in addition to preparing your home for wildfire, which is probably the most catastrophic loss that you might have, keeping your homeowner's insurance at this juncture can be an issue as well. And so that means that you need to prepare your home for all of the other types of things that would cause you to have a homeowner's insurance claim. As you know, many homeowners insurance companies have left the state of California altogether. And I talked about some of those reasons before, some of the Prop 103 things, some of the rate adequacy situations, but there is no real change in that on the horizon. I've heard here and there about some companies considering a return. So one of the things that having a scarcity of homeowners insurance companies does is it makes you kind of stuck in your policy. And not only are you stuck, but you also want to keep it because you know because of that you're not going to be able to find another policy. So one of the things I wanted to stress is, in addition to preparing your home for wildfire, you need to prepare your home for other things as well, so that you can weather a situation so that you can prevent having other types of claims. And I have a couple of documents, and I am not good at sharing things that look great. So mine is not going to be beautiful like Nancy's and Ben's, but just there are some tips that you can follow that can help you protect your home from things that will cause other sorts of claims. Because of course we know that fire is not the only claim. So if you give me a second, I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to kind of go over a couple of these tips. And these tips are geared toward you preparing your home for other types of claims so that you're not filing a claim and then finding yourself canceled. I know that at State Farm, typically policies that are in force, if you have had tenure with the company, one claim is probably not going to do you in as a rule. But if you have had claims that you have filed in the past and you have a new one, that could put your policy in jeopardy. And it's just people, I cannot debate whether it's fair or not. It's just kind of the reality right now. So if you can do things that can keep your home in good shape and prevent other sorts of claims from happening, then you're already a step ahead. And let me go to this screen right here. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. So this is just a little handout that we have, that these are just the sort of things that, in addition to fire, and I'm just going to leave fire alone because we got a good information on that. But it's the idea of prevention. Looking at causes of fires in your home, there are other causes besides wildfire. There's cooking, there's heating, there's electrical system, and there's smoking and candles. The idea is preparing yourself while you're cooking. Have fire extinguishers handy. For the heating of your home, have your home professionally inspected so that the furnace is in good working order. Have your electrical systems checked, because these are all common causes of fire. So, and if anybody wants a handout, I can always provide it to you, but these are the sort of things that you can do regularly, and many of them are low cost. Things like unplugging appliances when you're not using them, and installing smoke alarms, so that basic types of fires, because we're still paying claims on other sorts of fires besides wildfire. Next, moving on to things like water. Water, probably before, I've been an agent since '91, and before the wildfires really took off and were really the cause of damage du jour, water claims were probably the most common, the most regular, and the most insidious in a way, because water claims sometimes can sneak up on you and cause damage to your home before you have an opportunity to act. So this checklist just, it reminds you to check your appliances for leaks. Um, e- every leak is not going to be a big gush of water that's heading down your driveway or filling up your living room. It could be little things underneath the sink. We always recommend that you get the braided steel tubing underneath your sink, because it's less likely to leak and cause damage to your home. Replacing old and cracked caulk and grout around your showers and bathtubs, and then doing things like preventing toilet bowl clogs. And that's just being conscious of what actually gets flushed. I know that at my office building, we had a situation where a number of homeless people were using our public restroom as their cleanup spot, but they were flushing paper towels. And so that caused backups and water damage in our homes. And then moving on to other sources of claims, things that can cause you to file a claim, is taking precautions for crime. I know that these are the sort of things that, probably all of our lives we have been told: keeping your doors locked, having different sort of locks that can't be picked. Consider buying an alarm system. Making sure your windows are properly operating so that they close properly. Having lighting in your home. And then trimming trees and shrubs around windows and doors also serves to keep from having thieves being able to access your home under the cover of your shrubbery. And then when you're not away, you know, making it not obvious that you're out of town with lighting and with where you park your cars. And then other things about water, because I didn't realize that this water situation, water listing went over to a second column. Checking your basement, or not basements in this area, but many of us still do have crawl spaces. Checking for dampness in crawl spaces. And I do tell customers it's probably in your best interest from time to time to have a plumbing inspection, so that if there is wear and tear in your plumbing, you can have, you know, the opportunity to address it earlier. We go to the dentist to have our teeth checked regularly because we know that decay can happen without us knowing it. And our homes need to be checked and updated and attended to on a regular basis as well. And then one of the other things that has become very popular with water is our water alarm systems. What these alarm systems do is they detect when there's leakage on your property, and it sends an alarm usually to a smartphone or another device. And also a lot of times they have automatic water shutoff systems. And as a matter of fact, homes of larger value, like larger homes with large replacement cost values, insurance companies are requiring that you have these water shutoff systems to even be eligible for a policy. So if that's something, the preventative measures that you can take can help save you some distress. And I know that having a claim, whether it's a large claim or a small claim, is an inconvenience, and it is a stressor in your life that most people would rather avoid. And these are just some of the few things that you can do that can help you avoid that situation in your home. One other thing that I want to kind of go over briefly is I wanted to kind of run through what your homeowner's policy looks like. And this is my homeowner's policy, but I just wanted to point out a few things that if you have not spent time with your insurance agent, that you might want to take the time to do. Because let's say that you take care of your zone 0 space, but fires are going to burn what they're going to burn. You will have a better chance if you've taken precautions. But if you find yourself in a situation where your home is damaged and you need to use your policy, you do want your policy to actually afford you with something that's useful to you. So this is my homeowner's policy. Homeowners policies, of course, have an annual renewal date, and mine is from October to October. And over in this section, if you have a homeowner's policy with a company that is not the FAIR plan, I would always recommend checking to see if you can bundle your home and auto insurance together. That is a way of saving premium dollars for both your home and your auto policy. And on the homeowner's policy, at least on ours, that discount can be worth any offset of a higher price that you might pay on your auto with your old company. Combining it can be to your overall benefit. The other area is there are some wildfire mitigation discounts that you can earn. Being in a Firewise community can earn you some wildfire discounts. None of them are very large, but talk to your insurance agent and your insurance company about things that you've done to your home or that you're thinking about doing to find out if that will also not only keep your home safe, but have the potential of helping you decrease your premiums. This next section I just wanted to look at is this is the area where your coverage is concerned. And homeowners policies are different from different companies, but the basics are still all the same. The policy starts off with how much coverage that you have for your dwelling. In this instance, my home is insured for $623,700. Just keep in mind, it is never usually the market value of your home. It is the cost that the dollars that you're going to need in order to rebuild the home. And as we hear about increasing cost, it's not just increasing costs for commercial projects like water pure, but for our homes. So paying attention to this number, if you don't pay any attention to any other number on this page, this is the one that you want to look at. So for my house is insured for about $500 per square foot. And at times I question whether, based on what rebuilding cost I'm hearing from people in other situations, whether it's in the Palisades or things that have happened here in town, having an idea of how big your pot of money is to rebuild your home is really important, because this is the number that's going to dictate every other coverage that you have on your policy. And determining that number can be tricky. We use estimates. We talk to contractors to get their estimates. If you felt like, I want to know what the number is, the only way that I know that you could even come close to doing something like that is to have have your home appraised by a replacement appraisal, not a market value appraisal, but an replacement cost appraisal. And then I'm just going to quickly go through a couple other things. In terms of mitigating the cost of your policy, you can always look at your deductible. If you can handle a larger number, then you can lower your premiums by keeping your deductibles lower. I've opted for a 0.5% deductible. That means a 0.5%. Remember, this number right here, the dwelling coverage, is what dictates what all the different percentages mean. If you've got a big, if you have big structures or a detached garage, you need to make sure your other structures are properly insured too. But pull out your declarations pages, look at what the coverages are, look at all your options and endorsements and all the different things. There are many things that you can add to your policy to make it a little bit more robust, so that in different areas that might require additional coverage, you have an option to potentially add those coverages to them. And they're all very meaningful. And I would say that in most cases, when I have a customer give me a call and ask me questions about their policy, I am more than willing to spend a little time reviewing exactly what their coverages mean and how they might be used in the event that they have to in the event that they have a claim. And I'm going to stop there, but I just kind of wanted to give a quick overview. Prevention and review your policy. Those are a couple of things that you can do as an insurance consumer that can help you have maybe a little bit less heartache down the road, and at least know where you stand in the event that you actually have to use your policy. And that's all I have got. Are there any questions? All right. So now I'm back to being the moderator of our meeting today, and I'm gonna move on to our Ventura Unified School District Area 3 trustee, Shannon Fredericks, and she is going to give us an update.
Thank you, Dena. Yeah, I'll have to reach out to you with my personal questions on that. You're a wealth of knowledge. Thank you.
I would be happy to talk to you about it. Even if you have a different insurance company, I understand insurance. So
Thank you. Appreciate that. I have a fairly short presentation. We've been neck deep in back to school nights, and everybody is in full swing at all of our schools right now. The number one thing I just really want everyone to know is two things actually. If you look in the chat, the very first item is a Google form. This is the school board trustees, and we have created a very short 4-question survey. The survey has been open for almost a month now, and it will close on September 30th. But it's like I say, 4 questions. We really want to know what's going well, what needs improvement, and what are your budgetary priorities? Because again, we're going to be looking at really tight budgets for this coming year. And so we just are looking to see what stakeholders find most important. And this is not open to only VUSD families. We're also looking for input from the community at large, business owners, neighbors of our schools, parents, grandparents. If you are at all interested in what your public school system is doing, we're very interested in having your feedback. So that will be closing September 30th. And then the other item that is going to be super important coming up, we will be having a town hall at Ventura High School. This is regarding our surplus properties. Again, we're seeking public input. We really want to improve communication, and we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to give us their thoughts. Currently, we'll be addressing the properties Washington School, what was formerly Washington School. That one is at 96 McMillan Avenue. And then also the Avenue School, formerly the Avenue School, which is up on pretty high up on Ventura Avenue at 2647 North Ventura Avenue. And those are the 2 properties that we'll be discussing. We have a company that is managing our request for proposal projects, and they will be coming in order to present some details about what the parameters are. We'll be releasing both of those properties for the RFP process starting on Monday. And we're really just looking for the community input as well. We want to make sure that we're addressing the needs of the community as well as the needs of the school district in determining what we're going to be doing with these surplus properties. So that's the biggie on the horizon. And again, that is October 7th at Ventura High School from 5:30 to 7. So those are the 2 biggies. Otherwise, I have a shout out to the teacher of the month, Ms. Torres from Will Rogers Elementary. And so that's some good news for us. And then our next regular board meeting will be Tuesday, October 14th at the district office. And the open session generally starts about 6 o'clock, or as soon as we can pry ourselves out of closed session. And I'm available for any comments or questions.
Kathy, you're on mute.
My question is about Washington School now that it's been declared an historic site. How you are carving up that property?
Yeah, we don't know yet. That's one of the things when we put it out for the request for proposal, it will kind of be in the hands of community of any people who are interested in coming up with ideas for us on what we can do with the property. Definitely having the actual physical building as a historical landmark will require just some creativity in what we can do with that property. So we look forward to seeing what people submit as part of that process, but then also at the town hall. It would be great for people in the community to come and present their ideas, because I'm sure people that are potentially developers will be in the audience as well, listening to what kind of things the community is interested in seeing. So I think it's an opportunity for everyone to have their voice heard.
Hey, great. And that is October
Tuesday,
7th.
October 7th, yes,
Okay.
at Ventura High School in the auditorium.
Okay, great.
I wanted to mention, I was able to go to the Teacher of the Month presentation.
Oh, wonderful.
If anyone has an opportunity to go or to participate, it is very, it was way more heartwarming than I had expected it to be. These are teachers who are excelling in their classrooms, and they're being recognized by members of the community and by the school board itself, and it really encouraging teachers and the teachers at their school to be excellent, and it's an awesome program.
And it's a surprise. It's kind of
I
exciting because
didn't know it was a surprise because there were a lot of tears, and it's a good program.
yeah, it's an amazing program. I mean, and honestly, I'm jealous that you got to go because I'm a teacher as well. I teach in a
Oh.
neighboring district, and so I cannot release my students and get all the way across town by 3 p.m. So one of these times, if I'm board president, I'm going to work on maybe changing that to half an hour later so I can enjoy them as well.
Yeah, it was very nice, and the spouse and the teacher came, and the kids, and it was a good presentation.
Oh, I'm so glad to get that feedback. Thank you. I'll share that with
Yeah.
Dr. Castro as well.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Shannon? All righty. So on our agenda, next up, we have our city council person, Ryyn Schumacher.
Thank you, Dena. Hi,
You're welcome.
everybody. Just wanted to make sure to update you of all the wonderful things that are happening with the city council. I think last week, if you didn't know, the mayor just did her State of the City. This year, we actually had a open house for the city hall. So we had booths of all of the major services that we provide in the city, and a lot of families came out if you missed it. And also the presentation that Jeanette did. The State of the City is on our city website, and I'll put that in the chat before we head out for you, Kathy. Also, I'm sure you all have already read Main Street Moves is continuing to stay closed. And we had received a lot of emails and calls. I mean, we had over 600 emails. Majority of them were wanting the street to stay closed, and this is a continuing conversation in how we are developing that area. Now, I just really quickly I know some of you have already seen this, but I do want to try to, if I can, share my screen here and show you, if you haven't seen it, some of the visioning renderings that we presented at the city council. That way, I think it's really important for all of the city to really see what we are trying to build. And I hope that this will allow everybody to kind of come together in seeing what this can be in the future. So here is the library in the 600 block, and that's what is currently and we had asked our consultant to render something where we can develop a very family-friendly area. Here we have kind of like a blacktop where kids can gather, and we're going to have a lot of art on the ground as well as throughout the whole street. As you can see, we're going to be really creative in our seating area. We're going to try to make sure that we have a lot of greenery in just a very family-friendly space. We're going to have potentially some games, throughout the year, and just really opening this up so that it's very people-oriented. A lot of businesses came out in support of it as well, showing that some of the misinformation that was going around was actually pretty false, and it was actually a lot of the businesses were actually really thriving because of the closure. And then just a couple more images here for you all. As you know, this is right in front of City Hall where the tiny little stage is, and hopefully, again, these are all renderings. These are all what we're going to be developing in the future. And here you can see we are thinking about putting a fountain, really opening this up and having really great branding. And again, having a more of a main stage that allows us to bring a few more concerts during the summer and along the the holidays. And then lastly, this is right where the mission is. And as you can see, it's a kind of a war zone. Warzone-esque. We're trying to go Warzone chic here. And we're trying to develop up into a more welcoming space where we have, a signage that really welcomes our guests, our residents, and people who are coming here for vacation. So again, just wanted to make sure that you all kind of see what we're thinking about, how we're developing the space, and the decision for the city council was 6-1 with Duran dissenting, and we really wanted to show that there is a vision for us to developing that area. I'm gonna try to keep it short here because I have a lot to update you all on. So if you haven't seen that, that's on the September 16th agenda, item number 8. If you'd like to read the whole report, it's pretty long. So just, if you have some free time, by all means, go on our website and pull that out. Just FYI, we have the art walk this weekend, as you all know. So hopefully I see many of you out there this weekend. There's a lot of really great events that are going to happen. We also have our just a couple more things that are happening. Hold on for 1 second. Well, just FYI, we have some homeless prevention that I wanted to talk about as well. Councilmember Duran is proposing which is a really great program. Many of the people who are coming out of our jail systems tends to stay here in the city, and they are in need of transporting back to their homes. And so we are creating more of a process in which we're collaborating with the county and also our homeless prevention programs throughout the city in helping many of those individuals to get back to their hometowns if they would choose to. So we're really developing that program through and also connecting our Reconnections program from downtown. You may not all know, but he has publicly already declared our fire chief is retiring in December. So we will be having a new fire chief starting in January. What I'm told is we're not looking for a interim. So we are doing that recruitment, and that should be coming, more announcements of what that develops coming soon. If some of you or if any of your neighbors are looking to be participating in CERT, and we're having a Spanish version of that. So applications are on our website. If you are looking to participate more, there is a application for the Ventura County Council for Seniors. You have to be over age 60, a Ventura resident, and able to go to a monthly meeting at the Avenue Library. So if you're interested in that, that's also on our city website. And October is Filipino American Heritage Month, so I would like to invite you all to come to a Filipino fiesta at the museum on October 19th. So it's free. Come join and enjoy some Filipino music. And this is all obviously open to the whole county. And there's also going to be some Filipino food, and I will be there as well, just celebrating my heritage. And then lastly, we already talked about this. Commander Brown already kind of talked about it. Please participate in the Ventura Police Department strategic plan. Their strategic plan was so instrumental in getting them to this level of their work with the community. So the more that we hear about what you're looking for in regards to how the police department can really work with us, make sure you complete that strategic plan, and that link is also on our city website. I really do want to thank Gina and Linda for being here. I specifically asked for the Water Pure and the Water group to come to this specific meeting. Last time I was here, I got a lot of questions about Water Pure and our rates. And, these are the type of outreach that I really want to make sure that we do before the rates come to City Council. As it's being presented to the City Council for approval. We want to make sure that our community is aware of all the changes, and we answer your questions as we move forward. So, any questions that I can do in the next 10 minutes here? Maybe even less.
Where did you say the Filipino Heritage Month program would be?
Yeah, October 19th at the Museum of Ventura
Museum.
County. Yeah. Main Street. You
I'm
won't.
afraid I'll be out of town, but other people might.
Oh, Kathy, I'm so
I know,
disappointed.
I've been out of town too much. I got it.
You have been, Kathy.
I have been.
All right. I'm gonna pass it back to you, Dena.
All right. Thank you, Ryyn. I really appreciate your coming to visit with us and sharing what is happening in our city from the perspective of our council. And now we're running ahead. Kathy, was there any other items that are not on the agenda? I know that there's other discussion things and announcements. Do we have any other business that we need to attend to?
I can't think. I want to repeat what we were discussing before the meeting started. The question that someone had of Commander Brown last month about parking 20 feet from an intersection. Ventura PD put it on Facebook, their description of how it's going to, what it means and where you get to park. And not everybody has Facebook, so I went poking around and found a really good website from the city of South El Monte that really is a nice graphic description of how it's going to work. One of my questions for Commander Brown was, is there going to be a mark on the pavement so that you know whether you're 20 feet from the corner? Because I'm not sure I would be able to know that. And if your part of your car is sticking into that 20 feet, you are violating the law. So it would be nice to have curb markings. Has there been, Ryyn, do you know if there's been any discussion about how the city's going to go forward with that?
I am not aware, but I can find out for you.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, because we had that little chat before everybody signed in. I want to urge people to sign up for the city newsletter because there are announcements from the city that seem to be coming fast and furiously, because I think that whoever's doing public information right now is really trying to reach out and send updates to people. So I would encourage people to sign up for that city is it called a newsletter, Ryyn?
Yes, it's a city
Because they really get a better sense of what's going on with the city in all sorts of areas. It's not just city council, it's all kinds of things. So I would encourage people to sign up.
One thing I wanted to mention, and I know we did not have a report from Ventura College, but I have learned that the president of the Ventura College, Dr. Claudia Loredo Habib, has stepped down from her position, and so they and I can't I was told, but I don't remember exactly who is going to be the interim person until a new president is selected. So that's just probably doesn't have a big effect on us, but it is something that is happening at the college.
I think it's Luca, the student affairs vice president.
I think you're right too.
Yeah, I did get an update from Vanessa for my city updates. So if you don't mind, I can provide what she had sent me yesterday.
By all means.
Okay, so they don't have a lot of updates, she said, but they are in their centennial year, and they are going to be actively celebrating from now until graduation. Updates can be viewed on their website, venturacollege.edu/centennial. This fall, they are starting their inaugural cohort for their bachelor's degree program for automotive students. So that's really exciting that this is their first semester. And then also this fall, they're also going to have the inaugural cohort for speech and language pathologist assistant program. So that's
Good.
exciting that we're having that actually bachelor's program in our college.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Ryyn.
And then I will mention that next month we will be meeting on October 22nd. It will be a hybrid meeting. We'll be meeting at CAPS on Day Road at 71 Day Road, and we will still be available on Zoom. And on that day, we are collecting food, food items and personal items for the Ventura College Basic Needs Pantries and their contributions. I know that they have had some funding, some contribution changes over the past months here, and so our help is more important than ever. So if you're going to attend, or if you can just drop it off at CAPS, that would be greatly appreciated.
Russell has given me a list of the things that they like to have donated, and I will include those in the notes.
Excellent. Kathy, do we have anything else, or are we going to bring this on home?
I think we're ready for a wrap.
All right.
I can't think of anything else other than, yeah, I think we covered it.
Very good. Well, thank you everyone for attending. And if you have questions, please feel free to connect with us via our website. And we look forward to seeing you next month.